When the narcissist is being cold with you, you can bet that they're being hot with somebody else behind your back. Yo, what's up, happy people of the internet? This is Psychopath Exposure, and you have tuned in to another segment of the show. My name is Kira, and today's going to be a very interesting comment that I'm going to read because you little internet scammers, you're getting good. I got a comment that was flagged by my moderators, so shout out to the mods for catching this comment and reporting it. I did take a screenshot of it though, and I'm going to read it because it's actually quite good up until the part at the end where they try to sell you cyber stalking and tracking software and bullshit like that pretty much gets you into jail and into trouble. Don't do it to yourselves. So I'm not going to read the ending, but I'm going to read the beginning because these fucking scammers, I mean, they're getting better and better. They're just basically paying people to write comments of this nature, to study a subject on whatever it is that they want to spam, and post these comments. They create a burner account, infinite burner accounts, and they just spam all sorts of YouTube pages with their bullshit. They all get flagged. They all go into spam anyway. Sometimes they get through, but that's why we have moderators, you know. And if not, I'll see it, you know. But you know, it's just interesting, you know, these toxic people out there, these really shitheads, as I like to call them. I mean, they'll pay people to gang stalk you. That's how sick this world is already. A shithead will do that. So there's shitheads that hire people and pay them minimum wage, maybe less, they hire people from another country to study narcissistic abuse, to study psychopathy, to study the comments in these channels, learn about that shit, and then spam their bullshit. You know what else? You know who else does that? Jealous, psychopathic shitheads. Like your exes, they'll also come in these channels and they'll learn about this shit. And then they'll smear your name and they'll turn all this information around and project it onto you. And they'll binge these videos all night like losers. They'll learn all this shit. They'll think they're neurotypicals. They'll claim to be neurotypicals. They'll claim to be victims. And they'll throw this shit on you and they'll tell your friends about it. And it's just a total shit show, and it's ridiculous because they look like fools, and you guys can spot them a mile away. So when you see a comment like this, and you're starting to read it, and you're like, wow, yeah, I resonate with that. That's the same thing that happens to me. And then at the end, it's always the same shit. If you're looking for some cyber stalking tools, if you're looking for how to track your cheating ex, contact blah 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 blah, and they put some phishing email there that once you do that, they got your information and they're gonna spam the fuck out of you and probably try to steal your identity or your bank account or whatever. You know how deep these online phishing scams go. So now that my SD card ran out of space and my audio turned to shit, I'm gonna have to temporarily pause this video before I even read the comments. I'm just wasting everybody's time today. Please hold. All right, we're back. Thanks for waiting. So let's just get right to it, shall we? So the scammer says, I've said this many times before on YouTube, but if the narcissist is cold to you, you can be sure the narcissist is hot to someone else. The cold phase, you will feel invisible. You will not feel important anymore. Even if you are in the same room, you will feel that the narcissist doesn't see you. When you are, let's say, at work, the narcissist will no longer check your day. From calling or texting you several times per day to nothing or almost nothing. The biggest sign is when the narcissist's behavior changes dramatically. First, you feel visible and really loved, that you have found your soulmate, to not feel visible anymore. God, even the grammar on these scammers are so trashy. Your soulmate feels like a stranger. Another sign is that the narcissist will use their favorite toy a lot more in front of you. What favorite toy? Where's this going? Which is the smartphone. All right, clever. They will put the phone upside down on the table. Will never leave the phone. Yeah, I just thought about that System of a Down song. Why you leave the kids upon the table? I don't know why I had to tell you that, but let's jump back into this thing. I think they start the sentence here with because. Because the narcissist will use the phone a lot more, you start to wonder why the narcissist can't answer your text messages and phone calls, but has no problem to answer others. The communication and sex will be a lot more off. It will be less and less. The sex will almost feel like rape on a dead body. Oh no, the R word. The biggest sign is actually your guts. Always trust it. Your guts or your gut. If you start to feel like the narcissist is cheating on you, trust that. Okay, not your gut, but trust that. And if the person really is a narcissist, you can be sure you are not the only one. A narcissist needs attention all the time, 24/7, so when you are not with each other, the narcissist will be with someone else, either in real life or on the internet, always. Additionally, and here comes the cyber stalking, tracking, spoof, spam, bullshit that they want you to fall for. So I'll stop right there. And obviously I'm goofing on them because the grammar is poor and I know that some scrub was hired to write that. But there's a lot of truth, as they obviously did their homework. There's a lot of truth. When the narcissist is being cold with you, you can bet that they're being hot with somebody else behind your back. Because it's night and day. It's completely the opposite, the polar opposite of how things were, especially during the love bombing idealization phase at the beginning of that narcissistic entanglement. When the sex was hot and steamy, when the attention was full court press, they were texting you all day and you're at work. How's work? How was the meeting? Did you get that account? Did you close that deal? How are your clients? Etc., etc. And then they tell you about their day and what they're doing. And then somewhere in that conversation, you plan a nice dinner for tonight, or what movie we're gonna watch, or what lingerie they're gonna wear, etc., etc. You know how those things are. And from one moment to the next, when the narcissist starts grooming someone else, you don't have to be an expert in narcissistic abuse to figure it out. You guys just didn't know that there was a label for this. But in the olden day, this would simply be called cheating. They're just having an affair. It used to be just called an affair. But now we realize that there are levels to this madness, because an affair, at least the way it was projected in the olden day, was you're sleeping with somebody behind your back. Just one person, not infinite people in a harem. Just one person, usually your boss or someone in the office that you were spending a lot of time with, and you kept it under wraps. You didn't want your wife to find out, or you didn't want your husband to find out. And when they would find out, it would crush you, because you realize that you just destroyed your marriage, and you would try to salvage it or whatever. And this, that's the way movies were back in the day. But that's not the case anymore, especially with the way social media has taken over and destroyed relationships altogether. I mean, narcissistic people, borderlines, especially borderlines, like I was going to say histrionics, but it's the borderlines and narcissists. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that once they get bored of you, once they have an RAS flip, which is your reticular activation system of the brain, at first, they're just in love with everything you do and all the amazing things that come with your existence. And it turns into you're just not attractive anymore. They don't like the way you speak anymore. They don't like that fragrance. They don't like your body. They don't like the color of your hair or the length or your style. They don't like the mannerisms that used to turn them on. Now it's a turn off. It's a complete RAS flip. And once that happens, you can bet your sweet little tush that they are grooming someone else behind your back already. Because now the attention is on that shiny new object. And that shiny new object is really shiny. And it's glimmering. And you look just uninteresting now and dull. And the irony behind this is the way they treat you during that devaluation phase is what robs you of that shimmer, of that glow, of that energy. They're robbing you from it. So in a sense, they're creating the unattractive vegetable that they ultimately end up discarding. They are creating that in you. Sadly, the same way that they created an overinflated, idealized version of you at the beginning that was unsustainable. You really weren't that good. You really weren't that amazing. They just made you feel that because of the overwhelming compliments, the overwhelming boosts to your ego. All that attention, all those gifts that came in a flash that you didn't even feel you deserved. And you probably didn't. You probably didn't. You knew there was something a little uncanny about the frequency of it and the extreme passion that, I was like, I've never seen something like this before, but I love it. Well, I mean, why wouldn't you? That's how you get hooked on these people. That's how they hook you. And know that while that's happening for you at the beginning, whoever they were with before, they're on the receiving end now. See, a narcissist is usually coming out of a relationship or a marriage. Rarely do you just meet these people and they've been single for a long time. A lot of times, most of the time, they're already entangled with someone else and they're trying to get out. That's why when they meet you, they have nothing but horror stories about their exes. And then, since you're being love bombed so much, you're like, oh, that motherfucker, he doesn't know how to treat a woman, yada, yada, yada. And then they're kind of like grooming you to treat them the way they want to be treated. They're kind of telling you things like, oh, my ex used to do this to me, or he wouldn't do that. And then subconsciously, it's planting a seed in your mind. You're like, well, I don't want to be that loser. I'm going to make sure the diamonds I buy you are bigger and they're blue like in the Titanic. The heart diamond, those didn't get it. That's how they manipulate you. That's how they get inside your head so quickly. So quickly. And you start noticing these things and then you kick yourself in the ass later when you finally stumble upon videos like this. And you realize, holy shit, that's exactly what happened. And I was witnessing the demise of the relationship. I was witnessing my soul being ripped apart. And I didn't know what was going on, and I just stayed there and I begged for more. I begged for breadcrumbs. You see what starts happening with the intimacy. It's less and less. They don't look you in the eye anymore. They're looking up into space. They're daydreaming of the other person. If you're very sensitive to this, you'll pick up on that. There's something different about it. And sometimes you'll find bruises on their thighs. You'll find scratch marks. It's like, that shouldn't be there. There's some sort of rough play going on, and I'm not the one that did it. And you have to trust your gut, or your guts, like the scammer said in the comment. You're seeing something it's triggering your radars. It's triggering like an emergency signal all over your body that's telling you this person is lying. He's lying ass, cheating ass, piece of shit, and you're just eating it up. But who wants to go through a divorce? Who wants to go through a breakup and then have to quote unquote start over? Nobody wants to do that. That's why we stayed. That's why we put up with it. As we said, oh man, all this time invested, all these pictures that we have, what will people think? I don't care what people think. But there was a time that I did, sadly. So the time continues to pass by. You forgive them, you give them another chance, because the narcissist, and especially the borderline, the highly emotional borderline, will beg you and beg you not to leave, that they can't live without you, and that they're gonna die without you, and that please, they'll stop talking to that person. They'll stop entertaining that person. They're gonna block them right now. They're just lying. These people can say whatever the fuck they want to say, but changed behavior is what needs to be measured here. They can say whatever you want to hear. Okay, yeah, I'm not seeing that person anymore. But they still are. They do it again. So where's the changed behavior? That apology means jack diddly squad. An apology without changed behavior is worthless. Just like an apology where the person goes into detail about what you did wrong and how it's what you did that caused them to do that. No, sorry. That's also not a true heartfelt apology. A one-sentence apology, and you realize, oh shit, maybe I should stick this sentence over here, and that's gonna fix everything. Let me just throw this over here. Let me get on this thesaurus and find some synonyms that might make this word a little stronger. And that's it. That's it. And you're supposed to accept that. And many of you do. I did in the past, when I was blind to the truth. Yeah. They're that cynical. And it's like they're trying your ass right there. They're trying you by doing that. It's like, are you kidding? Like, really? You're just gonna say you're sorry and you're never gonna do it again, and yet the very next day you do the same exact thing? Who's gonna believe you? Well, once you're trauma bonded and you're hooked on the poison of the narcissist or the borderline, even though you know is not true, you kind of sort of gaslight yourself into believing that it is true. Because you're afraid of losing them. You're afraid of losing your abuser. You're afraid of losing the person that makes you miserable. Because the person that abuses you and makes you miserable is also the one that makes you feel better. It's also the one that cures that misery. Haven't you noticed when your narcissist ghosts you and now you're having a panic attack and you can't breathe and you can't sleep and you check your phone and there isn't a single missed call from them, and then somehow the phone rings or you get a text and you're like, thank God, and you check and it's some dumbass friend that you don't even want to talk to and you're like, fuck you, man, don't call me right now. Have you noticed how your whole world just crumbles until the instant that these lowlives finally reach out It's at that very moment that you get all of your breath returns. Your spirit comes back to you. And you're like, it's like you get a rush of endorphins, floods your system, it mixes in with the poison that the narcissist has injected you with, right? But there's a lot of endorphins and you feel good. And as you pick up the phone, and for those of you that have the balls to let them have it and rip into them, and you're fighting, as you're fighting, you still feel better than if this person was out of your life. Even though you're fighting and you're having a heated argument, subconsciously you feel that you are important enough for the narcissist because the narcissist is on the phone with you. So at that moment, you're being validated. At that moment, your existence is being validated by the narcissist because they're taking the time to have this long-winded argument that ends up in a word salad and empty promises and bullshit. But they're taking the time to do that. Whereas before, they wouldn't even return a text that takes 2 seconds to do. And you know that they were in the toilet at some point that day, and you know what people do in the toilet for the past 15 years. They're on their fucking smartphone. They're full of germs. I don't touch other people's phone. So that's how you get hooked with people like this. And when things go cold, they are on fire behind your back. It's not like they just lost their libido. It's not like they just lost all interest in life. No, they're just around you now, and they have to make everything miserable so that you won't suspect anything. To keep you on your toes, to keep you on ice, like Tony Montana would say. I was going to do the impression, but I thought about it too long, so maybe in another video. Might even make a Christopher Walken impression. Who knows? Anything's possible. The Psychopath Exposure Show. But yeah, it's unfortunate that this is the pattern, but the good news is that when you figure out the pattern, you no longer have to question yourself. You no longer have to gaslight yourself. You have the answers. You have the concrete proof. You have the validation. You have the support. And you have the experience of having witnessed time and time again the betrayal, the fake apologies, the betrayal again, the fake apologies, the betrayal again, the ghosting, the hoovering, and then the breadcrumbs, because you're always going to get less and less and less every time. But imagine the apologies at the beginning were long-winded, and now they're just a one sentence or a few words text that have no substance, no backbone. They're not even telling you what they're sorry about. They're not even telling you all the horror shit that you probably went through and the sleepless nights. They're not going into detail about those things to show that maybe, just maybe, they have a little bit, an ounce of empathy to imagine what they put you through and how you didn't deserve that and how they're incapable of stopping it and they're probably going to do it again. Of course, they're not going to say that. But wouldn't that be nice? Someone that's actually trying to make changes would notice that and would just come clean and be like, look, this is who I am, this is what I do, and I can't help it, and I'm not even gonna try to lie to you anymore. Because you see right through me, and just be able to have an amicable, clean, closure type of conversation. You're not going to get it from a narcissist. You're not going to get closure from a narcissist. So just drop it right now. I can spare you the time. I can spare you the agony. I can spare you the months or years of rumination and narratives that you create, hoping that one day they come crawling back, apologizing, and they take you out to dinner and you guys have a nice steak or some Italian food. And you can talk it out like adults, and all resentments are resolved, and you both you go on your merry way, and there's no more tears, there's no more emptiness, no more anger, no more feelings of betrayal. Doesn't work that way when you're dealing with a cluster B personality disordered individual. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. So if you'd like to get better, if you'd like to get your life back, your freedom back, your joy, your peace of mind back, you gotta let these people go. I can make a million more videos. I'm gonna be telling you the same thing, just in a different presentation and a different tone of voice. Or some dry humor, drier than the freaking desert. It's gonna feel like sandpaper. But it's always the same thing. It's never gonna work out with these people. It just doesn't. It's impossible. It's designed that way. It's designed to destroy whoever they're with, whoever they're intimate with. That's by design how it works. I didn't make up the rules. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. But shoot me an email if you'd like to work directly with me on my private coaching program so that we can work together, we can workshop the situation, go into detail, help you guys point out the little things that are keeping you stuck and why you can't move forward and why you keep going back to the same person that has been abusing you over and over and over again. It's fucked up, really. It really is. Because it's turning into an epidemic. It's growing. It's like kids today are being groomed to this shit. And they're learning these toxic ways of dating that is like mimicking what narcissists do at a normal rate. These people, these kids, are being trained to behave this way in dating, to ghost, to wait a day before responding, to not show too much interest, not give too much attention, to not chase, all this shit, and it's different for the men and for the women. There's two totally different strategies. I might make some videos breaking that down in the near future. So I hope you guys are having an awesome night. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching to the end. If you got some value, as usual, please drop a like, comment, and share the video with someone that may find this type of humor hilarious. All right? Love you guys. Be good to yourselves. My name is Kira. This is Psychopath Exposure. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.